Hello and welcome to another street photography video with me, Nick Turpin. In this video I will be out shooting with Fujifilm's newly released X100V camera. Those of you who watch my films regularly will know that I don't talk a great deal about equipment. I tend to focus on picture making in public places, really. However, I've been a big fan of the Fujifilm X100F. I've been using that for 3 years. So I'm extremely excited to have an opportunity to come out and shoot with the replacement of the F, which is the Fujifilm X100V, or 5. So before we go out and shoot a little bit, let's have a look at the main headline new features of this camera. Most of you will be familiar with the fabulous little Fujifilm X100F camera, one of the staples of modern street photography. This little camera has almost been designed perfectly for the street. I would almost say that it's the perfect street camera. And by the very nature of the word perfect, it means it can't be improved upon. But somehow, Fujifilm have managed to make something even perfecter. So what new features and changes have Fujifilm made to improve on the X100F? So let's start with some of the features which you can't see from the outside of the camera. Inside this new camera is the new X-Trans4 sensor and processor, which gives vastly improved performance over previous models. And this is really noticeable when you're out on the street. The camera is very responsive, very quick, and the main feature, I think, for me as a street photographer is that the camera comes alive very quickly and wakes up very quickly when it's been asleep. And if you're walking for hours with the camera and then you suddenly see something, you need that camera to be ready to make a picture instantly. And this is the main improvement for me over the previous model. The camera now has the new classic neg film simulation, which is very nice. I've really been enjoying using that. It's quite a cool, slightly blue tone to it, I think. It reminds me a little bit of some of those blue and teal film LUTs that they use on modern action movies now. The X100V also features a new and improved lens, which is much sharper wide open, and also much sharper when you're focusing close to. One of the things you'll notice on the exterior of the camera now is that the D-ring on the back has gone. A lot of those features are now incorporated in the menu structure. This has allowed a much cleaner, simpler look to the camera, fewer buttons to push accidentally, which was a problem, I think, with some previous models. It's also freed up that space for Fujifilm to put in a nice kind of ridge along the back there for your thumb to hold the camera against. And this makes it much easier to shoot with one hand, which I think is a very useful feature for street photographers. Now, probably the most significant addition to this new X100V is the flip-out screen, the articulated LCD screen on the back of the camera. Now, I think for many street photographers, the appeal of the X100 was its simplicity. And I don't know whether this complicates the camera. I wasn't sure about this to start with, but after shooting with it for a few days, you don't have to use it if you don't want to. It doesn't make the camera any bigger. Fuji have managed to add this articulated screen without increasing the size of the camera, which I think is great. And there are going to be those occasions where you do want to hold the camera down between people's legs, down on the ground, or over arms above your head, looking over the top of a crowd, for example, when this is going to be very useful. And I know there's also a portion of the street photography community who like to shoot, waist level, hip shooting, and this can be very useful for them. Now, also this camera has 4K video, which none of the previous X100 cameras had. And I can really see the 4K video combined with this articulated LCD screen, making this really quite a nice little, small, high-quality video camera. And as somebody who's a street photographer and a filmmaker myself, I'm going to actually find this extremely useful. If you're a user of the Fuji X100 series of cameras, then the new X100F is going to feel very familiar to you. The size is the same. As you can see, this is where the thumb grip is here, which makes the camera much easier to hold, with one hand like that, which I really like. The shutter speed dial is slightly larger, which is quite nice, and very solid as well. I think they've changed the way that works. It seems that the clicks feel more solid. Same with the exposure compensation thumb dial here. That feels very solid, and I don't know, maybe it's because it's a new camera compared to the one I've been using, but I think they've made a few changes. As I mentioned earlier, the EVF is very nice in the viewfinder here. That's nice and bright and crisp, great saturation, and shows very well the various film simulations. You can really see what you're shooting. If you choose the new neg film simulation, then you're going to see that in the viewfinder. But overall, it's absolutely a delight to use. Beautiful object.
So what Fujifilm have done with the X100 series is that they've started with quite a revolutionary new design, the X100 original camera, and then over the years they've refined and changed and modified and improved that design. And I think things really were coming together beautifully in the X100F. I really consider that pretty much a perfect street photography camera. And basically what they've done is they've made it perfecter.
So although I love single image street photographs, I'm increasingly doing street photography around themes and ideas. Things like the night bus and my autos project. One is about commuting, one is about advertising. So I thought I'd take this opportunity to work with the new X100V, this new camera, and I'd start a new project. And one of the things I'm interested in recently is tourism, global international tourism. So I've come down today, it's a bright sunny winter's day, I've come down to shoot Changing of the Guard at Buckingham Palace.
我在白金汉宫这边，
So I've been lucky enough to spend 5 weeks now with the X100V. I've been out shooting my little documentary project around Buckingham Palace, which has been really nice. I found the camera perfect for that. I know a lot of documentary photographers will want an interchangeable lens camera for that sort of documentary work, but for me, I like to work at a close distance, and I like a camera. I like the simplicity of this. I like a camera that allows me just to focus. Not on the technical side of photography, but on the subject. The people, the interactions, what's happening in the scene in front of me. That's what I want. I want a camera that doesn't get in the way, and this is absolutely perfect for that. And it's made nice pictures. I've also been carrying it around with me every day, just to meetings and when I've been working in London, and taking a few street shots. And every street photographer needs a camera which is with them, all the time for those moments when things just materialize in front of you, or the light is beautiful or whatever. So I've got a few shots that I'm happy with in that way as well. I think a lot of people will go into this camera in a much more technical way than I have. As an image maker, if it works, it works. I don't need to go into all the menu structure and all the new details of all the new changes. Somebody else will do that better than I can. But as a picture maker, I think it's a great camera. I've really got some great shots with it already. I feel confident using it, and a camera that gives you confidence is gold, really. So if you have any questions about the camera, leave them in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them. I'll be very reticent to give this back to Fujifilm now, and I'll be at the front of the queue to buy one in the coming weeks. I hope that's been useful. It's probably time for you to grab your cameras and get out there.